Let's make a mottling sponge. Mottling is the process of painting a random texture on the doll in multiple colors and multiple layers to create a lifelike skin pattern. It's worth taking the time to make nice mottling sponges because you can reuse them over and over again for many different dolls. To make our mottling sponges, we're going to need some jumbo cosmetic wedges or regular cosmetic wedges. Ideally, they would be latex free, and you don't want them to have anything else in it. You don't want it infused with vitamin E or anything strange like that. Hopefully they're white and not colored. I just happen to have the Beauty 360 brand with me, but there are many brands of sponges that you can use according to your preference. Now, I'll use various ones at different points in time for different purposes. I like to use a little bit of a sturdier grade of foam because the more absorbent sponges do not retain their shape over time. So as you can see, this one has gotten very puffy. This is one of the Whispers sponges. Because I want to be able to reuse the sponge, I need it to retain its shape. So we're going to use these instead. There are a variety of patterns that you can create. The first thing that I like to do with any mottling sponge or painting sponge is take off the corners. These straight edges will leave lines on your doll. I don't want to make my sponge very much smaller. I want as much area as I can retain, but I am gonna very carefully pluck off these edges so they don't leave straight lines on my doll. As you can see, it kind of looks like the edge of a stamp, but more random. Now we're ready to create our mottling pattern. Your mottling pattern is completely up to you, and over the years I've used a variety of patterns to create some very pretty skin textures. But what I'm loving lately is this very sparse, almost webbing like pattern. It looks very nice on the skin, so we're going to make one of those. To create the sparse webbing pattern, you want to first pull out some holes, some nice deep holes. So just decide the width of your hole. Maybe you want one really big one in the middle. Push your tweezers down into the sponge, grab a nice big chunk, and pop it right on out. You can go over it a few times until you get the size that you want. Okay. So now we've got a nice big hole in the middle, and I'm going to add more holes randomly around it. The human mind has a tendency to create and look for patterns. So when you're trying to create a random pattern, you have to be very intentional about making it random, or else you will get something that's symmetric. And we're kind of programmed to do that. So keep in mind that what we'll paint is the part that remains. So these holes will be left blank on the vinyl. So I want it to look even more random than what I have, and I don't want these areas to be super thick. So I'm just going to take the tinier part of the tweezers and start plucking down into these lines, or these areas that are left behind. And I'm taking out very tiny pieces because I want to make little bitty holes. You can bring in holes from your corners because you don't need your corners to be a certain shape, so you might as well use that towards your pattern. I don't want to see any really big chunks because that is going to show up really prominently on the doll. And if you have something that's very noticeable like that, it will create sort of a repeating pattern on your doll. Like once you see it, you can't unsee it. It'll be very noticeable. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. I still have a little more foam than I like here. So I can decide if I want to just draw these two holes together or if I want to pull some in from the outside. So I think I'm going to come from a corner and try to make that hole a little bit smaller, or make that area of foam a little smaller. So, you know, really just keep going back and making these tiny nips until you get the pattern that you want. Now let's take a look. I am preparing to do my ultramarine blue mottling layer. So I have my super translucent color. I can see right through it. I'm going to take the side of my brush and just apply it to the areas of the sponge that are left behind. And this will also help me to see if I've got any really big areas that I want to pluck a little bit more. Just going to stamp it down here on my pad or on my napkin to see the pattern that we're getting. This one is actually a little difficult to see, so I'll demonstrate with this dirty purple layer because that you'll be able to see. So just taking the side of the brush and painting it directly onto the sponge, trying to hit only the raised area, not trying to get into the holes. And now you can see the pattern that we're creating. If there's anything on your pattern that's looking too big or too dark, you can identify the section of the sponge that's creating that and pluck it down a little bit more. It's worth taking the time to get sponges that you really like because you can reuse them over and over again across many dolls to create very natural complexions. This mottling demo has been brought to you by CustomDollBaby.com. For more information on mottling and the entire reborning process, please subscribe to CustomDollBaby.com on YouTube.